Dream of the Red Chamber, Chapter 29.
We're starting this with a moment that feels deceptively small. It's really private.
Right, you've got Bao Yu, and he's just kind of staring off into space.
Completely lost in thought, and then
Lin Daiyu.
throwing her handkerchief at him, and it strikes him right in the eye.
And he's totally startled, asking who did it. And the answer is, it's pure Lin Daiyu.
Of course.
She just laughs and says she was showing Bao Chai a stupid wild goose, a Daiyan, flying by.
It's so quick. It's playful, almost flirty, and it immediately pulls you into this very cushioned, very intimate reality that these main characters were.
It's like a little domestic bubble, a beautiful, protected one.
Exactly. But that bubble is about to shatter against the logistics of the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And this specific part details what seems like a simple family outing. A trip to the Qingsu Temple for a Taoist ritual, a Dejiao.
And on the surface, this is all about spiritual duty. The ritual itself is a good deed. It's sponsored by the imperial consort, Yuan Chun, and Jia Mu is going to offer incense.
A very solemn occasion.
It should be. One act of devotion just instantly explodes into this massive, city-disrupting display of wealth, of power, and frankly, some shockingly specific social control.
So we're going from a casually tossed handkerchief
to a military-grade operation. It's an incredible shift.
So the core question we're really looking at is, how does a family with this much status actually move through the world? And what do the logistics of a simple trip reveal about their hierarchy?
And the answer, as you'll see, is that they move less like a family and more like, a sovereign power.
Okay, so the trip is set for the first day of the month, Chugi.
Right, and it also happens to be the Dragon Boat Festival, Duanyangji.
So the energy is already high, and the source text makes a point of saying that everything, the carriages, the chairs, the uniforms, are all in full complement and different from ordinary days.
This is not a quick trip. This is the highest possible expression of their status. And the person who gets to choreograph all of this is, of course, Wang Shifeng, Feng Ji.
She turns this trip into an annexation, basically.
She does. Her immediate demands are all about total exclusivity, total comfort. She sends people ahead, days ahead, to clear out any Taoists who might be idling around.
Right.
They have to clean all the viewing boxes, hang special curtains, and this is key forbid any idle person from even setting foot inside the temple.
So the Jia family isn't visiting the temple. The temple is being remade to serve the Jia family.
Precisely. It's being molded to fit their needs, their sense of propriety.
And if you want to understand hierarchy in this book, you just have to look at the transportation. The vehicle is your status marker, right? And the ranking here is so precise.
It starts at the very top. Jia Mu, the matriarch, she gets an 8-bearer sedan.
An 8-bearer sedan. That's not just for comfort. That's a political statement.
It's the highest rank of personal transport you can get. It signals a near imperial level of authority.
You need 8 people just to move her. It's a massive physical sign of her importance.
Then you drop down a level. You have the main wives, Li Shi, Feng Ji, and Shui Yima. They each get a 4-bearer sedan.
Still very high status, but visibly a step down from Jia Mu.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting with the younger women. Bao Chai and Daiyu, who are sort of the two central figures, they get to share one ultra-high status carriage.
The Jade Canopy carriage.
They agree. The name alone with its pearl tassels and 8 treasures, it just screams luxury. It spells out their unique value.
And then you contrast that with the other sisters. Yingchen, Tanchen, Shichen.
They share a carriage too, but it's the red wheel flowery canopy carriage. Perfectly nice, but it's clearly visibly secondary.
The transport itself is a physical map of their social standing.
Yes. Your status is literally measured by how far your carriage is from the matriarchs.
But the vehicles, they're only half the story. The real cost of all this status is the sheer number of people you need just to serve them.
It's a human inventory. We talk about the main ladies, but then you have to add in a dozen or so personal maids, the nurses, the momo, the family matrons, wives of servants, boys holding poles, guards.
We must be talking about, over 100 people?
Easily. Well over 100 people just for one family's spiritual outing.
Which, of course, leads to complete chaos on the streets.
It's inevitable. The scale is just too big to manage. The text says the street is completely blocked, darkly pressing, occupying the entire street.
So Jia Mu's giant sedan has already gone, but all the junior carriages and servants are still just clogging up the entrance.
And they're all squabbling, they're crushing flowers, breaking fans. You can just imagine the noise, the mess.
And you have Zhu Rui's wife, who's a fairly high-ranking servant herself.
Right, and she's running around yelling at them to stop making people laugh in the street.
It's fascinating. The family demands the whole street be cleared for them, but internally the whole operation is a logistical mess.
And that's the first big revelation here. The more external power they project, the harder it is to manage the friction and chaos on the inside.
So we've seen the chaos on the street, but as soon as the family gets inside the temple gates, that mess just oomed. It snaps into this incredibly unforgiving, rigid structure.
It does. And you see the true nature of their internal power.
The arrival ritual itself is very formal. You have Bao Yu on his horse, riding ahead of Jiamu's sedan. The public stands aside.
And the Taoist master, Zhang Faguan, comes out with his colleagues. There are bells and drums. It's all very official.
For about 30 seconds.
Yeah. And then it all breaks down. We get incident A, the collision and the curse.
Okay, so Jiamu has stopped her sedan right inside the gate. She's looking at the statues of the gate general, the city god.
And Feng Ji, who is always vigilant, gets out to help her. And that's when this little Taoist boy, maybe 12 or 13 years old, carrying candle snuffers, he bumps right into her.
He's just trying to get out of the way.
Exactly. But Feng Ji's reaction isn't just anger, it's this immediate, reflexive assertion of status.
She hits him.
Right in the face.
Yeah.
Knocks him down and screams at him, "Wild bull-sired, where are you running?"
Wow. It's such swift, casual cruelty. And it's aimed at the absolute weakest person there, a child who just made a mistake.
And this is where the complexity of their power really shows up, because Jiamu, who is the source of this whole overwhelming display, she's the one who shows compassion.
So how do you reconcile that? You have Feng Ji's immediate physical power.
But Jiamu has the ultimate moral and financial authority. She hears the commotion and steps in immediately.
She's worried about frightening him.
Yes. She says she's worried about scaring a small family child who isn't used to a scene like this. She asks, won't his parents feel pain?
It's a kind of high-status magnanimity. She can afford to be generous because her power is absolute.
And she flexes that power. She orders Jia Zhen, the clan head, to treat the boy well, give him money for fruit, and make sure no one else bothers him. So Feng Ji's cruelty gets disciplined by Jiamu's compassion.
But the compassion itself is still an exercise of power. It's a command.
Absolutely. Which is what makes Incident B so shocking. Because the very same man Jiamu just ordered to be kind, Jia Zhen, is the one who turns around and commits this next act of cruelty.
Right. He spots his own son, Jia Rong, trying to escape the heat.
Yeah, he's hiding in the bell tower. And Jia Zhen is furious. He sees this as a huge failure of discipline, especially in public.
And the punishment he delivers it's one of the most brutal acts of humiliation in the entire book.
It really is. It's not a beating. He orders a small servant, a boy with no rank, to spit directly on Jia Rong's face.
Think about the layers there.
Yeah.
Jia Rong is the direct heir of the senior branch of the family.
And he's being publicly defiled by the lowest ranking person in the household.
And it doesn't even end there.
No. The servant, after spitting, then has to publicly question Jia Rong. Why were you seeking shade when your father hasn't even complained about the heat?
And Jia Rong just has to stand there, head bowed, and take it. He can't say a word.
It proves that status for them isn't just about money. It's about absolute, humiliating control over your own family. The whole point is to destroy Jia Rong's dignity in front of everyone.
And you see the effect immediately. Other young relatives who are watching just panic and sneak away.
The public degradation of the heir puts everyone back in their place. It reestablishes Jia Zhen's authority in the most visible way imaginable.
So after dealing with servants and brutally disciplining his own son, Jia Zhen then has to navigate the political landscape.
Right. And this is represented by the Taoist master, Zhang Faguan. This is where the family's spiritual duties connect directly to their political network.
The master, Zhang Daoshi, is sort of hesitating. He doesn't want to enter the main area where the ladies are.
He asks Jia Zhen for instructions, saying it's hot, it's crowded, he doesn't want to intrude. And on the surface, that seems like simple respect for their privacy.
But when you look at who this guy actually is, you realize why Jia Zhen treats him with so much deference.
This man is not just a monk, he's a political power broker. His history is impeccable.
He was the stand-in, the Titian, for the late Duke of Rongguo.
The founder of the family's power. So there's a generational ritual connection right there.
And his current influence is huge, too. He holds the seal of the Taoist Registration Office, the Dalusi.
Which basically means he's the head of the entire Taoist bureaucracy in the country.
So he's considered an immortal by princes and officials. This is a very important man.
A very important man who visits both Jia family houses often. So when he asks Jia Zhen for permission, it's not really about him being lower in rank. It's about maintaining appearances between two powerful people.
Which is why Jia Zhen just brushes the formality aside.
Totally. He says something like, "We're family, why are you talking like this? If you say any more, I'll pluck out your beard. Just come with me."
He's showing how close their alliance is. It's strong enough to just ignore the normal rules.
Yes. The temple trip might be spiritual, but it's fundamentally about showing the world that the Jia family is connected at the highest religious and political levels. The temple is just one more stage for them to exercise their influence.
At this revered Taoist temple. It's supposed to be a pretty standard day of, religious observance, making offerings.
But with this family, nothing is ever simple, is it?
Never. I mean, the source material just captures these incredibly intense, subtle moments. It's a collision course, really, where all the rigid external expectations of the family just shatter against the messy, uncontrollable emotions of the kids.
Our sources lay out a day that starts with this very formal ancestral reverence, and it just ends in complete social chaos and emotional collapse. 3 symbols that really define this tension: the ghost of an ancestor, a priceless piece of jade, and a tiny, almost forgotten piece of gold jewelry.
And that last one is the real kicker.
Okay, let's unpack this. And we've got to start with the man who kind of sets the whole thing in motion. The Taoist priest, Zhang Daoxi.
Yeah, and it's so important to get this right. He is not just some cleric. Zhang Daoxi is an old, trusted family associate, which gives him this tremendous social and psychological authority.
So when he walks in to see the matriarch, Jia Mu, he carries a lot of weight.
A huge amount. And he immediately zeroes in on Baiyu. He compliments him, calling him fitter, which the term is Aviu, and it means both like healthy and thriving, but also blessed by fortune.
It sounds like a normal, polite thing to say.
It starts that way, but then it escalates so quickly. He connects Baiyu not to his own father, but to the founder of the family's glory, the late Duke, the Gu Gongyi.
And what does he say?
He says Baiyu has the Duke's exact figure, physique, conversation, and conduct. I mean, it's so emotionally loaded that it brings both the old priest and Jia Mu to tears right there.
So that's the real insight here, isn't it? To anyone else, it's a sweet comment. But inside this massive, decaying family, that resemblance isn't a compliment.
No, it's a crushing destiny. It's a burden. Baiyu is trapped inside this historical relic, the ghost of the Duke. Jia Mu even confirms it. She says he's the only one who takes after the founder.
So he's the only one fit to carry the torch, but his entire personality just resists what comes with it.
Precisely. The high-minded politics, the scholarly expectations, he wants none of it.
And we see that resistance almost right away when the priest tries to subtly interfere with Baiyu's schoolwork.
Yeah, this part is fascinating. Zhang Daoxi says he's seen Baiyu's poetry and calligraphy, and they're excellent, but then he tells Jia Mu that his father should stop pushing him so hard on the serious classics because it's actually making the boy sick.
So it's that classic tension between, raw talent and familial duty.
Exactly. The priest, the spiritual guy, can see that the pressure is literally hurting him.
And once he's sort of inserted himself into Baiyu's health and career, he pivots. He goes right for the highest stakes topic there is, marriage.
He does it so carefully. He just sort of mentions a girl he saw, 15, intelligent, good family. It's a test. He's just testing the waters.
But Jia Mu's response is amazing. It's not just a no. It's this multi-layered rejection. First, she brings up some old monk's prophecy about him not marrying early.
Right, the prophecy.
But then she lays out her own criteria for a bride. And they are so unusual.
They're radical. For a family at this level of society, they are completely radical. Yeah. She tells the priest straight up, I don't care about his family's wealth or background. She uses the term Genji Fugi.
Which is everything in this world. Marriage is always about politics and money.
Always. And she just dismisses it. It's an incredible assertion of her power. She says she only cares that the girl's appearance and personality are, suitable.
And she even adds that if the family's poor, she can just
Yeah.
give him money.
Just give him silver. Yeah. She's prioritizing her grandson's happiness, or at least his aesthetic suitability, over the entire social structure. She can literally just buy her way out of centuries of protocol.
That family is just operating in its own little world.
A very privileged, very isolated sphere.
Yes. And that privilege, that isolation, it pretty quickly turns into total chaos. Which brings us to Wang Shifeng, Fengji, when she arrives.
Ah, yes. She never just walks into a room, does she?
Never.
She immediately gets on the priest's case. She's teasing him, but she's complaining that he forgot to replace her daughter's talisman, the Ji Min Fu, yet he had the nerve to ask her for some expensive satin.
It's such a power move. She's playfully reminding him in public that he owes them a spiritual favor while she holds the purse strings.
And he's just as skilled. He smooths it over, gets the new talisman, brings it out on this pristine tray with a scarlet silk cloth.
Yeah.
The whole performance. He's signaling, I am a professional, I understand ritual.
And that meticulousness leads us right to the core of this section. His request to take Bao Yu's sacred jade, the Tongling Yu, outside.
A huge risk.
Yeah.
I mean, that jade is his life force. He has to wear it all the time. Taking it off requires a really, really good reason.
So what's the reason he gives?
It's brilliant, actually. He tells Jiamu the grounds outside are crowded, hot, and there are unpleasant smells the Onkazaki way, which Bao Yu cannot endure. So the jade can go out to be seen, but Bao Yu has to stay inside.
So he's protecting the boy from the common folk.
Well, is he? I mean, that's what he says. But you could also argue he's protecting the family's reputation. The outside world is messy. If Bao Yu goes out there, who knows what could happen? He could say the wrong thing, embarrass them.
Right. It's about control. He's too precious to be exposed to real life. He's basically in a cage, and his jade becomes his ambassador.
And Jiamu agrees instantly, of course.
Yeah.
Bao Yu is told to put the jade on the tray, and the priest handles it like it's the most sacred object on earth.
Okay, so the priest takes the jade, shows it off, and then he brings it back. But he doesn't bring it back alone.
No, he comes back with a whole bounty of gifts from his followers, maybe 30 to 50 pieces of gold and jade artifacts, all carved with these wishes like all things as you wish and peace throughout the years.
These are basically offerings to the heir.
Exactly. Tokens of devotion to the next duke.
And Bao Yu has a very idealistic, very Bao Yu-like reaction.
He does. He immediately says they should just scatter all of it to the poor.
But the priest shuts that down.
He shuts it down with this great piece of practical philosophy. He says, look, these things are valuable vessels. They have a purpose. Giving them to beggars would be a waste. They can't use them. They'd be better off with cash to buy food.
So he's the voice of reason against Bao Yu's kind of impulsive idealism.
Yes, and Bao Yu actually listens. He says, okay, I'll give money later. It's a nice little moment of clarity.
But it's the last moment of control they have because that's when the whole day just it completely unravels.
It descends into social chaos. The word gets out that the Jia women are at the temple, and suddenly all these relatives and associates start sending gifts. Pigs, sheep, incense, silver. It's all just pouring in.
And Fengji, the accountant, immediately starts doing the math.
Of course. She's already thinking about the thank you money, the Xing Feijer, for all the messengers. She's thinking about the bottom line.
While Jiamu, the matriarch who just wants a controlled environment, is horrified.
She regrets the whole thing. Their quiet visit has turned into this massive public spectacle, creating all these unwanted social debts. Their own reputation has sabotaged the entire ritual.
They've managed the priest, the ancestors, the jade. But now the internal drama takes over. Okay, but this is where it all just goes off the rails. When the focus shifts to this tiny personal detail.
The shift is so sudden. Bao Yu's just sifting through that pile of gifts, all these symbols of external devotion, and he finds one specific thing. A golden dot blue feather Kirin.
A little mythological creature.
An exquisite little artifact. And Jiamu says, oh, I think I've seen something like that on another child.
But it's Bao Chai, who knows?
And it's Bao Chai who, of course, has this almost forensic memory for these things. She immediately identifies the owner. Sister Shi Yuner, she says. Shi Shengyun. And she even notes that hers is a little smaller.
She's not just recognizing it, she's cataloging it. She's tracking every potential rival.
Every single one. And that's when the temperature in the room just plummets. Tanxin makes an innocent comment about Bao Chai's great memory.
Which gives Lin Dayu the opening she needs.
And she strikes. She delivers one of her classic ice-cold critiques. She basically says that Bao Chai may be limited in other things, but she is exceptionally focused on items that people wear and carry.
Ouch. That is a direct hit. She's calling her shallow, materialistic.
And obsessed with status symbols. It's a brutal targeted insult, especially because it hints at Bao Chai's golden lock and its connection to Bao Yu's jade.
So how does Bao Chai react to being publicly humiliated like that?
With absolute control. She just turns her head and pretends she didn't hear a thing. She knows that fighting back would only give Dayu's words more power. It's a sign of her incredible self-regulation.
Which is the complete opposite of Dayu.
Completely. And Bao Yu, who's watching all of this, he's just mortified. He hears the Kieran belongs to Shishan Yun, another cousin, another potential match.
And he panics.
Total panic. He knows this means it's a matching set, a romantic symbol. He snatches it, shoves it in his clothes, and he's looking around to see who saw him. He is desperately trying to control the story of his own heart.
And the one person watching his every move is, of course, Lin Dayu.
Staring right at him. The text says she's nodding slightly, which just makes Bai Yu feel even more awkward and exposed.
He has to do something. He has to diffuse this.
So he makes this clumsy, desperate move. He pulls the Kieran back out and tries to give it to Dayu. He says, "This is fun. I'll keep it for you. You can wear it when we get home."
He's trying to turn a rival symbol into a gift for her.
And her rejection is just ultimate. She turns her head away sharply and says, "I don't covet it." She's not just rejecting the object, she's rejecting his clumsy attempt to placate her with a trinket.
She's telling him, you can't buy my forgiveness with a secondhand symbol.
Exactly. And Bai Yu is left just standing there, holding this painful little object, forced to keep it for himself. That tiny thing just exposed the entire devastating emotional battlefield.
Next morning,
The emotional atmosphere here is already, it's toxic before the fight even starts.
totally primed for disaster. Dayu is sick, which is probably made worse by her anxiety and, the summer heat.
Right, and Bai Yu, who is just obsessed with her well-being, is already walking on eggshells. And then this major external threat just pops up.
The Taoist priest, Zhang Daoshi,
Yes,
from the night before.
he brought up the idea of a potential arranged marriage, that infamous Golden Jade match.
Which implies Bai Yu might have to marry someone other than Dayu, so they're both just emotionally saturated. It's a tinderbox.
So how does this high-tension situation finally, explode? The spark for it all seems so incredibly trivial.
It is. Dayu just suggests that Bai Yu should go watch the opera or a play instead of staying home and sort of hovering over her while she's sick.
She might have just been trying to, get him out of the sick room, maybe ease his own tension a little bit.
You'd think.
Yeah.
But Bai Yu's inner turmoil, this fear that he's replaceable, that this Golden Jade thing might actually happen.
It's completely warped his perspective.
Completely. He hears her comment, and instead of relief, he immediately thinks she's mocking him or ridiculing him about that potential match with a girl who wears gold.
And the source material says his agitation increases 100-fold.
100-fold. Instantly.
So his response is just immediate, and it's designed to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He turns to her and snaps this line. It translates roughly to, "I mistakenly thought I knew you. Enough, enough."
Wow. He's basically just ripping up their entire relationship contract on the spot.
He's saying, "I never knew the real you, and everything we had was just a lie." It's brutal.
And because Dayu is just as insecure as he is, she doesn't try to soothe him. She doesn't explain what she meant.
No, she goes straight for the jugular.
She does. She doubles down on that Golden Jade trope, basically implying that of course she's unworthy compared to these others. It's just emotional warfare.
And this all escalates until Bai Yu delivers this truly shocking accusation. He says, "Are you intentionally cursing me to be destroyed by heaven and earth?"
I mean, the escalation is just...
Wait, I have to pause here. That is a truly massive leap. From go watch the opera to you wish I was destroyed by divine wrath. That just shows you the depth of the neurosis here.
It does. And that mechanism is exactly what the author calls this kind of foolish illness that they both share.
A foolish illness.
Yes, it's not a standard fight. It's a pathology. They hide their true feelings, their, genuine devotion, and they only use false intentions to test the other one.
So the cruelty is actually a tool for confirmation.
It is. They're trapped in this high-stakes game of emotional chicken, and the first person to just admit their true feelings is, in their minds, the loser.
This really gets to the tragic irony of their internal dialogues, which the novel, thankfully, lays out for us. They're living these parallel, contradictory inner lives.
Absolutely. Bai Yu is thinking, my heart, my eyes, they're only for you. I am risking everything. Why are you attacking me? You clearly don't worry about me at all.
And at the same time, Dayu is thinking the complete opposite.
Right. She's thinking, if you truly didn't care about the Golden Jade idea, you wouldn't get so upset when I bring it up. Your anger is proof that you're worried about it, and you're just pretending not to care.
They're both just orbiting the truth, but every attempt they make to get closer just pushes them further apart.
And that's the core of it, really. They originally shared one heart, a single unified devotion, but their fear made them complicate everything.
So they made it seem like two opposing forces.
Exactly. Every single action is rooted in a desire for closeness, but their method, this constant testing, just guarantees the opposite. It just creates more distance.
So their verbal sparring eventually just hits a brick wall. Dayu, maybe she senses she's winning or she just can't stop herself. She mentions good marriage again.
And Bayu just loses it. He loses the ability to even form words. He goes completely nonverbal.
Which leads to maybe the most famous physical act of passion in the entire book. He tries to smash his most sacred possession.
The spiritual jade.
The spiritual jade.
And this is critical. This is not just him throwing some random object. The spiritual jade represents his entire identity, his fate, his link to the cosmic world.
So by trying to smash it, he's basically attempting suicide, or at least an existential erasure.
Right. He throws it down and shouts, "What use is this thing? I'll smash you and be done with it."
And the source notes the jade is extremely hard, and it actually survives the impact.
Which makes him even more frantic. He starts looking for something heavier to finish the job. The whole thing is really a performance for Dayu.
It is, and this is where that emotional axis just shifts dramatically.
Dayu sees this destructive rage, and she starts crying hysterically. But she's not worried about the jade.
No, she wishes he would smash her instead of what she calls the dumb object.
That's an incredible thing to say.
It feels unbelievably manipulative, even for Dayu. She's raising the stakes beyond all reason.
It's the ultimate confirmation test, isn't it? She's saying, this jade defines your life, but my love for you should define it more. Choose to destroy me, the source of your pain, over this symbol of your fate.
Like a tragic plea for confirmation that she matters more than his very existence.
Thankfully, the servant Jiren, his principal maid, she intervenes and manages to grab the jade from him.
And then she tries this calculated move to console Dayu, which is fascinating in itself.
It is. Jiren suggests that Baoyu wouldn't want to break the jade because it would hurt Dayu's feelings. It's an attempt at diplomacy.
But because Dayu is so deep in her foolish illness, she doesn't feel comforted at all.
No, she feels completely alienated. She hears what Jiren says and realizes, with this crushing distress, that Jiren seems to understand Baoyu better than she does.
The servant has better insight than his supposed soulmate.
Exactly, and that psychological pain just immediately becomes physical. Dayu, who is already sick, gets so distraught that she vomits up the medicinal tea she had just had.
Her body is literally rejecting any attempt at comfort.
And this brings in Zihuan, Dayu's maid. Zihuan is fiercely loyal. She goes right at Baoyu, and she tells him he wouldn't pass through life easily if Dayu's sickness gets worse because of him.
And just like Ziren's words hit Dayu, Zihuan's words hit Baoyu.
They do. He hears her, and he realizes, probably to his own shock, that Zihuan understands him, his dependency on Dayu, better than Dayu does.
That's the emotional turning point then, that moment of clarity.
Yeah, he gets slapped with the reality that he can't actually suffer for Dayu. He can only stand there uselessly while she suffers.
And that realization just makes him break down.
He starts to cry. And because these four Baoyu, Dayu, Ziren, and Zihuan are also tangled up in this singular foolish love, the servants start crying too.
So it becomes this moment of silent collective grief. Just the four of them, trapped in the wreckage of this melodrama.
So after the tears, Jiren tries one last thing, one last attempt to make peace. She points out the tassel on the jade.
Implying that Dayu made it, that it's a symbol of their connection.
Exactly. But instead of reconciliation, this just fuels Dayu's rage for one final destructive act.
The tassel is the physical proof of her devotion, her labor.
It is. So when Jiren points to it, Dayu grabs a pair of scissors and just ruthlessly cuts the tassel into pieces.
She claims her efforts were wasted because Baoyu does not treasure it. She is cutting off the last visible sign of their connection.
The stakes are just impossible now.
And of course, this high drama has consequences. The servants, they're terrified. They're going to be blamed for this disaster. A thick girl, a self-destructive young master.
They do what they have to do. They rush to inform the matriarchs, Grandmother Jia and Lady Wang.
The news of the chaos goes straight to the top of the house.
And when those two powerful women arrive, they find no clear, rational reason for this monumental fight.
They see the chaos, but they don't see the underlying emotional illness.
Right. So they resolve it by just shifting all the blame onto the servants. They scold Jiren and Zihuan for poor supervision.
And then Grandmother Jia just imposes separation. She takes Baoyu away with her. It's a purely authoritarian solution to a deeply emotional problem.
The separation lasts for a while, until Zhu Pan's birthday. And Baoyu, he's still just filled with regret. He even pretends to be sick to avoid going.
probably too ashamed or too distraught to face her.
And Dayu, meanwhile, she's equally obsessed. She regrets cutting the tassel, and she starts thinking about how she has to repair it so he can wear the jade again.
Her repentance is entirely dictated by his actions. It just shows how much she relies on him to define her own self-worth.
It does. And this separation, this distance, it finally allows the critical truth of their relationship to surface.
And it comes from the matriarch herself. Grandmother Gia, just utterly frustrated with her two little troublesome foes, laments their behavior. And she uses this powerful idiom.
Not foes never meet.
Not foes never meet. Tell us what that really means.
Well, the phrase basically gets at the idea that people who are bound together by this intense, inescapable bond, often one of love and suffering, are fated to meet again and again.
Often as foes or rivals, to work out that shared destiny.
Exactly. And this one idiom just lands like a revelation for them.
The book says they both hear it separately and contemplate its meaning, like contemplating Zen. Why does it have such a huge impact?
Because it completely recontextualizes their pain. It tells them that the fighting is not proof of dislike or division.
It's proof of their inescapable connection.
It is. The fact that they can inflict such emotional torture on each other is the ultimate proof that their fates are intertwined. They finally realize their constant destructive conflict is actually part of their mutual inescapable devotion.
So even though they're physically separated, Dai Yu in her Shaoxing Hall, Bai Yu in his happy red court, they are sharing feelings arising from one heart.
The fighting, the despair, the fear, it all just confirmed the deep, essential love they had been too afraid to simply trust all along.